because I can't do impressions. Anyway, they'd be going, where's my fucking money? It's nearly Irish again. No man. Anyway, they were going angry because they wanted the money, and the audience were laughing at them, going, "It's hilarious." They think he offered him 50. He offered them 50 quid, and the audience would be saying, "No, he definitely didn't. We could hear everything he was saying to you. He never said that at any point, other than telling you believe that had happened. You're still reacting to a hypnotic suggestion." I'm nearly ripping the backdrop apart there. Just let me. I stood on it, that's me. Yeah, it's just a hypnotic suggestion. And the audience would keep telling that, and they get more angry, saying, "No, he owes me money." The audience would laugh even more, and the friends and family saying no. And you know what? At the end of it all, these people would end up going, "I must have been a wonderful bloody hypnotic subject then." And they would genuinely believe they'd been hypnotised. Because the reality is, what had really happened is, he had a microphone that he either had a press button or a switch, or his sound man could turn it down at the right point, so that it was always in the same apparent position, so the audience were aware that they should be able to hear everything he said, because they were doing. But if you flicked the switch or the sound man put the slider down, the audience wouldn't hear anything he said, but they would see his lips move, unless of course he just kind of used, rather than, when he's talking dramatically, he's talking like this, you see the mouth move, but then he might talk like this. "I need the toilet! I need the toilet!" I don't need the toilet, by the way, it's a phrase I know I can say relatively well, where if I was walking around casually and the mic was switched off, the people on stage would hear me, but the audience wouldn't necessarily think I'd said anything. They certainly wouldn't hear it, could have no mic, but because I wouldn't be moving my lips as much, it's almost ventriloquism. I'm not a good ventriloquist, but talking normally would be, "I need the toilet." That's what they expect to see, whereas it would be, "I need the toilet." Not a right lot of lip movement. By the same token, it could be, if he'd said to them, "Play along and I'll give you 50 quid, might be noticeable if his face was facing the audience, but if it was, "Just do as I say, and there's 50 quid in it for you. Just do as I say, and I give you 50 quid, and if maybe on top of that he does it as he's walking around so people are less likely to notice, and now and again he can turn his back and apparently make hand movements at the people on stage like the old style hypnotist, going deeper, he's talking to the mic so they can hear it, going deeper, then flick the switch so there's no sound, and say to everyone, "Just do as I say," then the mic back on, going deeper, more relaxed, turn the mic off, "and I'll give you 50 quid after the show," relaxing more and more, so the mic keeps going on and off. The audience never realise it's been said. These people want 50 quid because it's a lot of money to them, and at the end, because of what was said, the audience perceive it as he's giving them a comedy suggestion, but the truth is the people genuinely are angry that they've been diddled out of their 50 quid. But, and I guess I have used this ploy, and you'll see me using it in the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. There's videos of shows in there all around the world, and I point out where I've used it, and you'll see that it does work. In fact, it works so well that often the people who start off angry because they don't get the money, the audience laughing at them, okay, first of all makes them angry, but then they come to question themselves, because there's one of them, maybe 6 or 12 volunteers together as a group that were on stage, whereas there's dozens, if not hundreds, of audience members telling them that isn't what happened. And with that amount of evidence saying it didn't happen, they can come to believe that they imagined it, or that that's the effects of being hypnotised because the hypnotist at the end suggested to them that, so therefore they must have been hypnotised. And the moment they start to entertain that possibility, it can become their belief that's what happened, especially when they realise the audience are going, "It's right, don't worry, you're a wonderful volunteer, all those things you did," and they realise the audience are praising them and making them feel loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, cared for, cherished, valued, and all the things we spoke about yesterday that make them feel good, and they suddenly think, "You know what, this isn't bad, people are buying me free drinks and talking to me, saying I was wonderful, and maybe I was hypnotised, because there's all these people, they pointed out they'd have heard him on the microphone. He was talking at all times, and at no point did he stop. Well, no, he didn't. He just flicked it on and off and maybe put the suggestions in a way I just demonstrated. And maybe now and again, went, "That's brilliant. Keep doing that. keep doing that. Keep doing that. It's encouraging them, as opposed to keep doing that. When there's very little mouth movement, you don't have to be a wonderful ventriloquist because it's covered by the movements. But this gets used a lot by even the biggest names in stage hypnosis, trust me. I've worked with the biggest names, and by the biggest names I'm not legally allowed to mention lots of them because non-disclosure agreements, because of legal actions and things, but it doesn't take too much working out to type in Jonathan Royle or my former stage name Alex Leroy, hypnosis seminars in like Birmingham and Manchester and London, and find what other famous television name theatre filling hypnotists I promoted and taught how to do seminars and stuff, and I tell you, the odd thing said off mic, they all bloody do it at certain times. Not in every show, there's no need to, but it's there for the worst case scenario. When you know you've got something to fall back on, you can feel totally confident. When you feel totally confident and you know you can't fail, you have more confidence and you transmit that to your audience members, the people on stage, to your therapy clients, whatever the situation or context or environment may be, and thus you get better results. Hallelujah. Can we have this is very American style, but I'm just going to walk towards my computer. If that makes sense, can you just tap in the chat box to let me know you're alive? Yes. Oh, praise the Lord, but yes will be enough that I know that actually it is making sense to you and that you're alive. Excellent, James is alive. He's still definitely with us. Yes, people are saying yes, I'm alive, good. That yes, just lets me know that it makes sense. Good. Because I much prefer having an audience there. This is really weird, not physically having you in the room. I know I can see pictures on the computer over there, but there is kind of an energy of having a real audience that's completely different. You know. Anyway, I digress. Hopefully you're learning from all these things. So that is what would be called in mentalism and magic, and also shamanism, the Native American Indians' spiritual belief system. It's what's known as dual reality, because the people on stage have a different perception of what's really gone on, a different experience than the people who witnessed it, but because more people witnessed this false reality than the real one, the people who've witnessed the or experienced the real one, can end up believing the fake one's real because there's more people telling them, and the weight of evidence, and people tend to end up following the crowd. A wonderful book is The Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds by, his second name is Mackay. If you type in Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds into Amazon, I promise you it will pop up. I've forgotten the first name, but the second, Charles Mackay, I think. Could be wrong, but Mackay's the, you know what, it's going to really annoy me if I don't do this now. So just bear with me 1 second. I'm going to, Extraordinary Popular Delusions and the Madness of Crowds. Amazon. If somebody gets to it quicker, type it in the box and tell me. And then I can put myself out of my misery. Madness of Crowds, madness.
It's Charles Mackay.
Thank you! Yeah. So I was nearly right, thank you. I appreciate that.
Take a look.
Thank you. Extraordinary Popular Delusions and Madness of the Crowd, Charles Mackay. It's about group psychology and how as human beings we're kind of pack animals. We can think for ourselves when we're on our own, but when we get together with a group, there tends to be a leader of the group, and then the majority of people become the followers. And that's what a stage hypnotist plays on a lot as well. Yeah, so as today we have like 20 minutes left. It looks like tomorrow session 1 will be teaching you the complete mind therapy structure, but if you want to skip ahead, go into the group, click on announcements and download the video audio PDF training package for Complete Mind Therapy and Cured, and you can be ahead of the game before I explain it all tomorrow by listening to the 53-minute long audio MP3 track that's in there. Then it'll make even more sense to you when I teach you tomorrow. I'll also teach you Cured Tomorrow, Complete Unconscious Reprogramming of Emotional Disease and Distress, which is a version of idiomotor response, talking to someone's unconscious mind and getting finger movements, or eye blinks, or head nods, or body sways, but non-verbal signals of yes, no, maybe, or whatever, to negotiate with our unconscious mind to, well, overcome anything, habits, addictions, fears, phobias, any issues to deal with, which combines in with parts therapy. None of this is new. There's lots of people out there with different titles for it. All Pain to Go, rapid pain elimination therapy, subconscious therapeutic eliminations of pain signals and symptoms, which is a name I devised for one of my friends and hypnosis students, Martin Rothery. I came up with that name. Pain-free, pendulum-assisted internal negotiation, fast releasing trapped emotions and energies. Again, another name I came up with for Martin Rothery. All of these techniques, I'll be teaching you tomorrow, so you don't need to do other courses, because they all root back to books from the 1800s anyway on pendulums. I'll teach you the core essence of how Bob Burns' The Swan technique works, because actually if you look at all books on pendulums, and you'll see it in the Cured manual that I've given you, you'll see that they show a tabletop and they show somebody putting their elbow on the table, taking a pendulum and holding it. Now if you imagine there was a pendulum here, that is what you will see in the picture in the Cured manual, okay? But if you now take away the pendulum, dude, what we're left with? Somebody in the position of Bob, the starting point of Bob Burns' The Swan. Yep, the swan is merely naked pendulum. It's pendulum without the pendulum. And as I pointed out to Bob Burns, SWAN should stand for subconscious wave analytical negation, because you're negating the analytical critical faculty of the brain in an eyes open state with a subconsciously caused wave or movement of the hand. He says it doesn't stand for that. He says it's not hypnosis. But hey, he also says that I didn't help him bring that product to market and give him the advice on how best to launch it to the marketplace and market it, and has libelled me all over the internet by calling me an outright liar, despite the fact, if you go on facebook.com/Alex the Hypnotist, click on photo albums and look for the one that says Bob Burns Proof of Defamation, you'll see all the screenshots of the private messages. No, I'm not breaking GDPR rules telling you that, or any other rules, because he publicly said I was a liar, and I said, well, I've got the proof I'm not. And he turned round and said, if you have, go ahead, wee laddie, and publish it then. I can only assume he was pissed at the time or something. But the fact is, he's never apologised, so I don't mind pointing out what a cunt, a liar, and a twat he can be at times. And the evidence is all there for you if you want to see. Helped him bring that product to market. It wouldn't have been half the success it is without that input. That's why he thanks me for it in those screenshots. The same with a lot of the other named successful trainers out there. Guess who advised them? Guess who came up with names for what they teach? And all that kind of stuff. No, that's nothing against Martin Rothery, by the way. I made that clear. Martin and me are friends, and we still are. I was thinking about other people there. Make that very, 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 very clear. Other people whose names will show up if you do the Google searches I told you before. Anyway, enough direct slagging people off for being twats to me. But I do actually tell you from an educational point of view, because I want you to realise that what I said yesterday about what I'm teaching you is the real truth, the real core essence of what really, genuinely, truly works. It's because I don't want you going out there wasting money on other courses. There's nothing any of these other people can teach you that I haven't either already taught you or will teach you by the end of Sunday evening UK time or afternoon morning wherever you are. Well, there's a few things you could learn, but none of those other trainers can teach you because they've never done it in the real world. But I can in the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. It sounds arrogant, but it's a fact. So as I've got 15 minutes left, I've given you some gold with Almond's Just Prove It To Yourself technique. It's almost as if, in a way that feels right for you, the IIC syndrome, all the different things that link in with shit and all the other stories, eyes follow the thumb test, it's pure gold. Actually, Almond, I just remembered, Almond does get very close to using what I call the Just Prove To Yourself technique with the Almond eye closure, where he tells you to just close your eyes you can do this at home if you want. Close your eyes, and with your eyes closed, just imagine in your mind's eye in a way that feels right for you. Okay? Just imagine that somebody has glued your eyelids together with the world's strongest super glue. And then just imagine, using your powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration effectively, that somebody else has come along and they've kind of stitched your eyes together. It doesn't hurt, but really locking, gluing, welding, cementing, bolting, fixing them together. Excellent. And then just imagine in your mind's eye that you can see a door, and that you open this door and you go through that door and you find yourself in the control room of your mind. And inside there is the head engineer. And you go over to the head engineer and you say, which of these buttons, sliders, dials, switches or controls is the one responsible for all the little muscle groups around my eyes? And he or she, whatever feels right for you, tells you and points out the correct dial, switch, slider, button or control for all the little muscles around your eyes. And in your mind's eye right now, in a way that feels right for you, using your powers of intelligence, imagination and concentration effectively, I want you to imagine just flicking that switch or turning the dial down or pulling the slider or depressing the control or whatever, so that all the energy, all the power to all the little muscle groups around your eyes is turned off safely, calmly and securely. And just nod your head when you've done that. Excuse me. And when they've nodded their head, you say to them, that's fantastic. I'm going to count to 3. On the count of 3, I want you just to prove to yourself you've done this correctly. Prove to yourself you've turned off all the energy to all the little muscle groups around your eyes. And just try to open your eyes. 1, 2, 3, just try. The more you try, the more the stick. The more you try, the more the stick getting tighter and tighter and tighter. Just prove to yourself you've done it correctly. That's fantastic. When I clap my hands low, the power returns and you can open your eyes now. Open your eyes now. And that's what you say to them. And if they go through that process, basically, as long as they take you literally and prove to themselves they've done it right, they will find that their eyes are locked because they're proving to themselves. So they don't. Ultimately, as a result, that means they don't open. And it's in his book with the eye closure that it's the closest he gets to saying, just prove to yourself. And I took that and combined it with a bit earlier in the book where he goes on about just so long as you keep swimming. Put the two together, the principles of both, as explained earlier. And hey presto, you've got a tool you can use for therapy demonstration, street hypnosis, stage hypnotism, as a convincer at the start of a therapy session. You know, you could come in, they go, meet them, do the instant rapport, what your family and friends call your excellence, so you get on the same level of trust that we spoke about yesterday. And then say, you know what, let's just try something before we start. And you make it sound as though you've just decided to do it there, and then you go, you know what, let's just try something. I want to make sure that you're definitely in the right state of mind today for this, what we do together today, to be 1,000,000% successful. So just close your eyes down and then go through what I just did. And one or two things is going to happen. Either A, they're going to prove to themselves they've done it right, in which case it heightens the perception, the belief and everything. Or, worst case scenario, they open their eyes. If they do, because of the way it was phrased, you go, oh, bloody hell. You didn't quite prove to yourself. You didn't quite do it right, did you? And the way it was structured, they will perceive that as being the truth. So you're not seen as any lesser. They're seen as having done it wrong. And you amplify that by reacting something like, it's okay, don't worry, don't feel bad. Like anything, it can take practice sometimes. So let's try another experiment. And then you go to something that you know is more guaranteed to work, like the eyes follow the thumb. So that you can definitely build up the perception. But you can't fail, you can't lower in terms of prestige because of the way it's structured, so it's never your fault, it's theirs. And that's the key lesson that I want you to take from today. Because once you are in a position where you can't fail, it's never your fault, it's always the audience member's fault who volunteered or the therapy client's fault. You Don't have to give a shit about what's going on. You just do what you know works the majority of the time with the majority of the people. Because anyone who says there's anything that works 100% of the time with 100% of the people is an outright liar. Or they're talking about a group of people that have been so pre-selected that all the people it wouldn't have worked on have been discarded. And in fact, I will be talking about that tomorrow and Sunday, because when your marketing's done right, you will have pre-selected your clients to get the ones that will pay you sizable fees and the ones that are in the right state of mind for it to work successfully over Zoom or Skype or another video platform during crises just as this, or in person. Your whole marketing approach will structure it so you're set up for success. And we laid the groundwork for that yesterday, and we'll kind of finish that off on Sunday when we get to marketing. We'll bookend it, so to speak. And the bit that's left in between is to teach you the complete mind therapy structure, which we will tomorrow. The cured, complete unconscious reprogramming of emotional disease and distress structure, to teach you various suggestibility tests and inductions, and a few more tricks like the eyes follow the thumb that are guaranteed to work anytime, any place, anywhere, with everybody who does what you've told them to do. But also if for some reason they don't, they're the ones who end up looking daft, not you. And when you put that all together in the right order, you will have the complete jigsaw for success that we spoke about yesterday. It applies to stage as well, but therapeutically, I'll just repeat that it's get rapport, induce the trance. Well, it should be at the beginning, advertise and get clients. Then get rapport, induce the trance, deepen the trance, ego strengthening therapy, necessary therapy, implant the major post-hypnotic suggestion, wake them up. That's what I learned from the APHP course that's in the fast track download that I've given you free access to, that wasn't advertised, my gift to you. That exact manual that I learned from originally, I mentioned yesterday. So let's look at this. Marketing, we covered a bit yesterday. Publicity with the diploma and all that. Getting rapport. What do your friends call you? Can I call you the same as your friends and family? When they say yes, they're putting you on the same trust level. So there you go. You know how to get rapport. Inducing the trance. Well, if you look at yesterday's video, I essentially did tell you enough about what you get them to visualise to do a long drawn out progressive relaxation induction. And the scripts in the download for you to read anyway. The deepener staircase backwards from 10 down to 1. Again, the scripts in there, but I did explain it yesterday. Ego strengthening therapy, it's about those things we talked about, making them feel good, giving them suggestions that they do feel loved, wanted, needed, appreciated, all the things we covered yesterday, but it's in the script as well. Necessary therapy, there's various scripts for it, or one script that covers for everything and allows the client to fill in the blanks is complete mind therapy that we're doing tomorrow. We start on that session 1 tomorrow. Major post-hypnotic suggestion that whenever they listen to the audio CD or the MP3 download you give them or whatever, that it's as effective, if not more effective, than if you were in the room with them, and they'll have an overwhelming desire to listen to it every day for the next 28 days. 28 days is a lunar cycle, so it has a magic, a metaphysical link to anyone who believes in that. It's also true that it takes 28 days for a habit to become fully formed, so logically it will take 28 days for it to become habit, not to have the habit they used to have, for example, to instill a new behaviour pattern. 28 is a powerful number. You put a load of women in a prison on different days through the course of a year, and once they've been in prison for around 28 days, studies show they will all start the periods at roughly practically the same time, unless there's a medical issue, because they're in the same environment and it's about timescales and cycles. Awakening is we're going to count from 1 to 10. Now here's a key thing. Other people do this different ways. You'll see different books contradicting people. I say there's one way to do things. Well, there's two ways to do things. The wrong way and my way. And if that sounds big-headed, when you've had 30 years of career, as successful as me, over 200 TV shows around the world, bought your own property outright for cash, as in walking in with a briefcase, opening it with the cash there, putting it on the counter, and they have to close the building and get security to count the money. And I did that literally 3 or 4 days before my 30th birthday. To put that in perspective, I'm 44 now, 45 this year. Bought my own home outright for cash. Cash that was earned purely from hypnosis. Cash that was earned purely from the techniques, the exact techniques I've shared with you so far and will over the next 2 days. Anything I don't manage to teach you during that time is taught in the boot camp. I'm not saying that to brag, I'm saying it that I'm telling you, the people out there that slag me off, there's a reason they slag me off. It's because they've not had a fucking fraction of the success I have in this industry. They've been at it, some of the so-called big trainers, what they've got is a load of money they're spending on marketing to make themselves look good. They've actually got about 3 or 4 years experience of being a full-time hypnotist. Bullshit. Most industries is accepted, you've got to be in it for at least 10 years to know what you're doing properly. So as arrogant as that sounds, I'm saying it for this reason. I'm saying it because I want you to have faith and knowledge that these techniques, however simple they seem, what, just a bloody eyes following thumb? What, just using that phrase, just so long as you keep your eyes closed, or just using that phrase, prove to yourself you've done it right? Yes, these are the things that have taken me around the world. Yes, these are the techniques that are paid for my lifestyle. Yes, these are the techniques that set me financially independent before I was 30. Yes, these are the things I will continue to share with you over the next couple of days, including how to create multiple streams of passive income so that you can earn more money while you're asleep at night than most of the average jobbing hypnotherapists do, working, I'd like to say they're working 40 hours a week, but you know what, that would mean 2 things. Number 1, they're being the elite few in the world that are, or number 2, they are charging an absolutely shit low rate and attracting the dregs of society who are likely to relapse and stuff, because all the psychological ploys we talked about yesterday that you've got to have in place for success to be able to charge the premium and for it to work in one session, which I believe is more ethical and moral. Well, hopefully you remember what we said yesterday. If you didn't see it and you've not caught up on it yet, please watch it. It's in the group already, because it will take what we've said today and amplify it massively. So, to finish today, quickly, the Mindcare Mind Rules, there's 8 of them. Call them the Mindcare Mind Rules because with my late business partner Peter Hill of Prospect House Publishing, God bless his soul, we came up with these rules as part of the training, and the company was called the Mindcare Organisation UK Limited. Mindcare Rule 1. Each idea or thought gives a physical reaction. Mindcare Rule 2. Expectancy is realised. So hang on, let's go back. Number 1. Each idea or thought gives a physical reaction. It has to be a thought first before it can become an action in the real world. So if someone's doing something they want to stop, before they can stop it, it's also going to be a thought first. That is why we've got to conjure up those mental images and stuff. Mind Rule 2, expectancy is realised. More often than not, what people expect to happen will occur. It becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. It's like the person who goes to the job interview and starts going, oh, I hope I don't get nervous. And then they sit there and they keep running that programme, I hope I don't get nervous. And they end up running off to the loo to be sick or to shit themselves or whatever. And they're really nervous and they fluff it because they ran a negative programme, because they expected it to occur. Whereas if they'd gone in with, you know what, if I don't get this, there'll be other jobs along, but I reckon if I give this my best, there's no reason why I shouldn't get it. They'll be running a programme that goes, I'm worthy, I'm good, and they'll be calm and relaxed and they'll be more likely to get the job. Mindcare Rule 3. Symptoms induced emotionally for long enough can cause organic change. In other words, stress is the biggest killer in the world. Normal medical doctors will tell you that stress is one of the biggest killers. Stress in the body can cause dis-ease. Okay? Dis-ease. When you are at ease, you are relaxed, calm and healthy. When you're not calm, healthy and relaxed, dis-ease. And it can cause the body to cause things like cancer and other organic change. So there is an argument, but we can't say it, we can't claim to do it, that if it can be psychologically induced, it can be psychologically reversed or helped. Certainly Dr. Herbert Benson with his books The Relaxation Response and Beyond the Relaxation Response, which you'll recall I mentioned yesterday, talks about the healing power of sleep and genuine stress reduction techniques that people with illnesses can actually have been shown he had amazing results. In the same way as Dr. Bruce Lipton, the author of The Biology of Belief, the leader in the field of epigenetics, and I have a full seminar called The Biology of Hypnosis that looks at Bruce Lipton's amazing work in this field and explores how you can, through thoughts and visual imagery, create genuine organic and physical cellular level change in the human body with facts, evidence and studies. That's in the boot camp, or you can buy it individually, but ironically if you buy it on its own, it's like $200, about 180 quid sterling. So why would you do that when you can have the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp till midnight on Wednesday for £197 sterling, containing $10,000 worth of stuff? Mind Care Rule 4, imagination is more powerful than knowledge in the mind. Remember the plank of wood we talked about? On the floor, walk across it easy. Across 2 buildings, you self-sabotaged and fall off. Very powerful. It also goes back those past 2 points to the more extreme, outrageous, surreal or emotionally disgusting and bizarre the image is, the more it can cause that pain to cause the shift in the mind to cause the change. Mind Care Rule 5, an idea remains in the person's unconscious or subconscious mind, their computer bank, until it is replaced by another, which is more powerful and emotionally charged. Mind Care Rule 6, at the same time, opposing ideas cannot be held. This is what causes cognitive dissonance. For example, if you genuinely believe that the governments are not taking advantage of the coronavirus crisis in order to people like Bill Gates to be able to fund things like WHO and a whole bunch of other things, the World Health Organisation and Imperial College in London he funds. If you don't think that him funding them and advisors to the UK government and Fauci, the American government, giving them funding and grants, isn't influencing them to use one of his vaccines so he can make billions of pounds and down the line potentially bring in cryptocurrency, microchipping and a whole bunch of other things, then fine. But there's so much evidence out there that proves that that is what Bill Gates wants. And it's also published in Rockefeller documents on their own website and in the World Health Organization plan for the New World and stuff. Genuine documents that are out there. But there's still people that will deny them because that, however much evidence there is, genuinely, goes against what they want to believe, that the world's safe and there aren't people out there who are prepared to let you die purposely to depopulate the world. Population control, as they like to term it. So because they believe this so much, no amount of showing them the evidence from the sources is ever, they're going to go, can't believe that, can't possibly believe it, because it goes against what I believed all my life and been brainwashed to believe. And that causes an internal conflict. And that is what is cognitive dissonance. But they'll always go with what they felt true to for longest unless they get so much evidence that it becomes so painful to carry on holding on to those limiting beliefs that they move forward, which hopefully you'll see is a real life metaphor now of what we've talked about yesterday and today, of how you go about genuinely changing a person's life for the better. Mind Care Rule 7, suggestions accepted create greater ease of acceptance of further suggestions. Once somebody becomes compliant, there's only 2 types of volunteers in a stage hypnosis show. Those that are cooperative and those that are non-cooperative. The cooperative ones can be really responsive, a bit responsive, not very responsive, but at some level they're responsive, so they go in the cooperative side, and then you've got your non-cooperative. In therapy, there's the person who does what you say or doesn't, but if you create the environment right, they will be doing what you say because they're ready to let go of that baggage and they bought into it at a sizable financial fee, and all the other psychological stuff's in there we talked about yesterday and today. So when you get them to do the first thing, say the tapping and the number goes down, they now believe. So because they believe that, they're more likely to believe their eyelids are going to lock together. And when they do, alright, we know we're using trickery, they don't. They think we say stuff, they imagine it, it becomes reality. They don't realise we've got those clever linguistic tricks I've taught you, or physical tricks of like the eyes following the thumb and all that. But after a few things like that convince us that they get genuine tangible evidence they felt and seen with their own eyes, the resistance, critical faculty, analytical area of the mind stops resisting and goes, I believe this person can do what they say. And then when they believe that, they arguably are hypnotised, even though hypnosis exists only in the mind of the believer. And anything else you say to them, well, as it says, suggestions accepted, once accepted, create greater ease of acceptance of further suggestions. And final mind care rule 8, the more conscious effort, the less subconscious response, which is the same as what resists persists. The Yoda thing of do or do not, there is no try. Emile Cou's law of reversed effort, that the word try implies potential failure. But all those little bits together, watch yesterday's session again, combine it with today's bit, put those two bits of the jigsaw together, and guess what? You're 90% of the way there to being able to do what I've done for the past 30 years successfully. The rest of the gap, well, that'll be filled in tomorrow and also on Sunday. So as I said yesterday, thank you for joining me. I will be in the group in about 10 minutes time when I've had a bit of a wash because it's really hot in here. Put my pyjamas on, go for a drink. I'll go into the Stay at Home and Hypnotize group for a little bit so I can have a look. I'd appreciate any feedback or comments there, not on the chat here. In the group would be great so I can see it there. I'll be logging off the computer in a minute. That'll make me feel loved, wanted, needed, appreciated and valued. And also let me know that I'm on the right track and that this is making sense to you all, hopefully, and that the picture's starting to build up for you. Say tomorrow we'll cover CMT and cured, the structures, suggestibility test and inductions and other tricks, and then on Sunday we'll cover marketing and how to make money out of this, but that will also weave into hypnotic techniques as well for stage and public demonstrations. If you've got any questions, please post them in the group, and then tomorrow I will either type a reply or I will take any questions, print them out and then answer them live on camera as the case may be. But feedback, and also remember to click on the announcement section and download your CMT and Cured training package, as well as the bonus fast track hypnotherapy session package that I've given you access to today. Thank you very much indeed. See you tomorrow about 7:40 p.m. UK time in the room, ready for 8 o'clock start. I'll see you in the room soon. Thanks a lot. Bye for now.